Hello and welcome back to the Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I am joined as always by TV Binges writer Olivia Richards. Olivia, hello.
Hey.
All right, so we are talking about a show that last year, way back, like almost a full calendar year ago, I was very excited about. That premiered on ABC this week. It's about scary children mysteries. It's called The Whispers. Olivia, what did you think of this pilot?
I love that. Scary children mysteries. I think that should just be the promo. Like, you could just sum it up in 3 words and it would be perfect.
Honestly, that should be the name of the show. Scary Children Mysteries.
Exactly. Dude, I would watch it.
like
even more so than I would already watch it just called The Whispers.
Yeah. So what did you think of this one?
I was excited for it, just from what we were talking about a year ago, but even just watching it, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did because especially with Under the Dome kind of going the way it did with Stephen King as kind of the mastermind behind it, I was a little bit tentative, but just sitting down and watching it, I really got into it in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, first 5 minutes, we open on the little cute girl talking to her imaginary friend. Eventually, the imaginary friend leads her to lure her mother up to a treehouse where there's an X on the ground. Her mother steps on it, falls through to her death. Awesome intro. Full on awesome intro. That's what I thought I was getting here. Scary children killing their parents. Let's go from there. So I'm super excited, super ready to go, all in on The Whispers. And then we go off to the other side of the world for an excavation or something involving a crashed plane, and then we find out that the lead is an FBI agent who has something to do with children, some kind of child specialist FBI agent, I guess. And the co-stars are her FBI friends. And then by the end, the director of the FBI or president or whoever that was from the government is talking with people. And it's I came here for the scary mystery children. I don't know if I came here for the government conspiracy. And that was my problem with this.
Yeah, that was sort of the thing. I wasn't expecting that, but it's I didn't necessarily hate. I do want to see what's gonna happen because obviously what was it? She found the picture, Lily's character found the picture where the girl had basically outlined a plan to assassinate the politician or the president or something like that. So I'm that took a really serious left turn.
But end. Yeah, and that's precisely my problem because I feel Scary Mystery Children is good enough right off the bat. Obviously you have to have some kind of season-long arc, but I feel to start it off, that's a strong enough premise to where we could go a few episodes without involving the highest levels of government. We could maybe have a few episodes before we're talking about plane crash mysteries. Because what I'm seeing this whole season, dating back to last fall, is that every one of these drama pilots is some kind of big government cover-up. This is the season of government cover-ups. You remember American Odyssey? And if you go down the list of pilots, it seems every single one this year that's premiered is some kind of big government thing where it's basically Lost, but more involved with the government than a Scary Island. Basically all these pilots are discount store versions of Lost. And I don't know why we need to be getting into that in the pilot. I don't know why half of this pilot needed to be about a downed plane and Lily Rabe's husband who was thought to be dead, but now has mysterious tattoos and is somehow involved. I don't know why that needs to be introduced right up front. Because for me, I just want to sort of get my footing with the Scary Mystery Children. I don't need all this plot to be front loaded on me. I would rather have 4 or 5 episodes where we're just sort of coming to terms with who Drill is and this whole premise and seeing the problem sort of escalate, and then maybe episode 5 or 6 the president is at danger, like, that then suddenly like things kick up a notch, and then we get I don't know, it just felt to me really rushed plot wise in a way that almost every drama feels this year, and so that was
Yeah,
my
and I
issue.
know we've had a few like Wayward Pines that it was sort of like we either have pilots that it's like nothing but everything happens at the
Yeah.
same time, where it's like, okay, I'm being told that all these things are happening, but I'm not seeing anything happen. So, like, partway through, I'm super bored. Or we have something like this where it's like, there's too much to cram in 42 minutes. So I definitely agree with you that I kind of wish that, yeah, they had kind of fleshed it out a little bit, because easily they could have, just spent like, the entire episode just on like one or two of the plot lines that were kind of mixed up with like the other five that were happening.
I mean, for me, like, I I didn't even pick up what the job was of Lily Rabe's character, and like it's some kind of like child specialist at the FBI. That was my what I gathered. But I would have liked to see her like day-to-day job. Like normally with a show like this, you start with like a basic case. Like what does she do like on a normal week? Like what is it
Yeah.
that she's up to? And I would have just liked to see like sort of get a sense of who she is, and get a sense, maybe a deeper sense of what her relationship with her husband was, and some more, maybe some background details about what happened to him and how he was supposedly crashed over the Antarctic but was found in the Sahara Desert. Like I feel like all of that stuff is so like vast and was just like unloaded on us in this pilot, and that really like lost me. Like I don't know. To me, if you if you start a series, or an episode, in this case a series, with a child luring her mother to her own death,
Yeah.
that should be the purpose of the episode. Like right off the bat, like to me, that's a big enough event that you can build an hour of dramatic television around. Like you know, let's get to know the kid. Let's get to know. I mean, was the mother married? Let's get to know the family. Like let's start small and get big. So this pilot actually kind of angered me. Like I was actually mad at this because I felt like it's a really good premise. Like it's not a dumb premise. It's a good premise that they're so insecure about that they have to just like right off the bat turn it into Lost. Like right off the bat, not even dip their toe in the water as to whether this premise would actually work. They just have to instantly introduce 25 mysteries that you're supposed to want to solve, and I ended up not wanting to solve any of them. I don't think any of the stories in this pilot were serviced well in a way that they could have been. I could have been invested in this, and the show just through their own decision making, or maybe the network's decision making, really turned me off to this show. So I'm worked up. I'm upset.
Just deep breath. The one thing that did actually make me really angry, I really, really liked that they had Lily Rabe having the child who got the serious illness and is now deaf.
Yes.
I wish that they would have kept him deaf.
Why
Like I
not?
was really, really, really angry at the end when all of a sudden like the aliens or whatever or drill like cured his hearing, because how interesting would that have been if like he has access to all these kids except the one who's connected
Yes.
to the person who's trying to figure it out. Like that would have been awesome, and like that's the direction I thought they were going to go. And like the way that they kind of portrayed the kid is like he's very like he's kind of an old soul,
Yeah.
and he's a little bit wise for his years because he had to be, because he just lost his dad, and now he's struggling with a disability. And also like just great representation on like television for that alone. But I was a little bit ticked that they kind of just threw away that entire plot line, and kind of taking away that part of this kid's story.
I could not agree with you more. That to me, when that character was introduced, I was instantly interested in him because the sort of too smart for his years young boy is well, or young boy or young girl. I shouldn't rule it out, but
Yeah, yeah.
that character exists in like 90% of TV shows. like that's a television staple. But for the kid to be deaf really made that character instantly interesting. There
Yeah.
was something about it, and for the deafness to actually have relevance. The show's called The Whispers. If you can't hear the whispers, that's relevant to the story, and I totally agree with you that that's a really interesting thing that I if you're gonna undeaf the kid, then fine, But why in the pilot? Why we don't even know him yet? He's had like 3 scenes. Like
Right?
why couldn't that have happened like 8 episodes in? When like we sort of just get used to it, like just seeing people sign on television is like interesting because it's not something you see every day. You don't see a lot of sign language on TV, especially when it's a mother interacting with her child. And that was new and different and interesting. And then by the end of the hour, we undo it. And I don't know why. Why would you make that decision? Like, why have him be deaf in the first place if you're just going to undo it? I,
Right? And I'm like, like you had said before, it's like you see, the too old for his years or whatever kid,
right,
but like it's kind of they kind of like they paint it as a trope because it's usually like an able-bodied child
right.
who has both parents, or it just kind of is like a thing that kind of just comes out of left field. But like with this character, it made complete sense because you think about a child who's dealing with like grief at a young age, and they are talking about a child who is now trying to cope with a newfound disability. Like that makes total sense for this kid to not really act his age. And I just, oh man, I was really pissed about
Yeah.
that. I'm still a little bit like,
So what did you like about this pilot? I want to hold your feet to the fire because I didn't like this one, but I want to know what you did like.
I really liked Lily Rabe's
Sure.
characters. As she has a name. The character has a name that
Oh,
I.
hold on. I know it. Claire Bennigan.
That's it. Okay. So I really like Claire's characterization. I actually liked the discussion that she had with the woman who at first seemed like she was sort of catatonic, and she finally gets her to start talking, and she's kind of explaining like what grief is,
Yeah.
and she gets talking, and I'm like, that was really, really like a cool moment of with this character, just because like you don't really see that on a police procedural
Hmm.
that much. Like, just kind of seeing her have that softness that you don't typically get to see with like a female cop or like a female agent of any kind.
Yes.
Um, so I really did appreciate that. And of course, like, being a huge Lily Rabe fan from like American Horror Story, I
Sure.
love seeing her in a leading role that's a little bit more commanding. Because typically in like the American Horror Story stuff, like you would just see her kind of being like
Hmm.
either kind of like the whimsical hippie type, or she was sort of like the childlike, like more on that end of the spectrum. So it was really nice to see her giving kind of like a commanding yet sensitive performance.
Well, in Coven, she was inhabited by the devil, right?
And in the what was it? Asylum.
Asylum. Sorry, Asylum. I meant Asylum. She
Oh, that was
was
it. Yeah.
she was a nun who was possessed by the devil. Yes, was that
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Covered
remembering
our bases.
remembering past seasons of American Horror Story is like recalling a flu dream that you had when your temperature was like 109 and you were on the verge of death and you're like, wait, what did I dream? But
This really happened. Just
yeah,
kidding.
but no, I think that's the that's a great point, and I really like seeing her as a lead. I think she was great. I think that character is interesting. I agree. Like if you compare her to like the character that Patricia Arquette is playing in CSI Cyber, um, the Lily Rabe's character is so much more interesting and so much more multi-layered already than that character.
Exponentially.
Like her character isn't like tough FBI agent. I mean, we learned about her family situation, her son. We saw her do a little bit of work. I could have seen her do about 300% more work. I feel like a lot of the screen time in this pilot should have been getting to know her as opposed to excavating planes. Which is goes back to my sort of bedrock complaint about this pilot, that she could have carried it just fine. Like this could have been, and what I wish it would have been in retrospect is just a sort of procedural television hour where she investigates what the heck happened, because it's really weird that this girl heard whispers and lured her mother to her death. Like that's really strange, and I just felt like everything moved so fast that we kind of yada yada the strangeness of it all. And to me, if a show like The Whispers is gonna work, it has to sort of live in that strangeness. It has to be like about like, whoa, this is weird, not whoa, the government's in trouble. like it can eventually become that because all shows eventually become that. But like for it to basically declare itself as that right off the bat was so hugely disappointing to me and really lost me. Like I had to finish the second half of this pilot today just because by about the fourth scene where they were talking about planes, I was checked out on this.
just just not even there
I
anymore.
just I don't know. It bothers me when a network actually has a good idea and then they feel the need to add. It's like that old the old like one of the first memes where someone criticized the Microsoft product packaging, where they showed like what a good product package looks like, and then how Microsoft like ruins it by putting 500 like notices and things and graphics on it. It's like this pilot is had a good premise, and then whoever, whether the showrunners or the network or some combination of the two, put 500 stickers on it, and all the stickers distract you from how good the premise is, and it ends up just being like, to me, this played like the event or flash forward or any of the countless other lost clones that have popped up in the last 5 years, as opposed to like a really interesting family horror drama. um and so I'm bummed out about it, and I'm still bummed. I'm a little angry, but I'm glad you liked it though.
I'm, you know what, my autistic side is rooting for the creepy children side because
Yeah,
again, like you know what, children are creepy enough on their own because they will just say whatever they want and they don't care. And some of the things that come out of their mouths are terrifying, and that is without alien help.
yeah,
So
true.
you know, I'm still pulling for more of that, and then you know whatever else happens on the side.
Yeah, creepy children is definitely a good pull, and it's why I was interested in the show in the first place. And again, that first scene was like everything I wanted, like creepy children all the way, you know. And so yeah, I mean, between Lily Rabe and scary children, it does have some stuff going for it. I'll definitely concede. um, do you have any shows that you can compare this to for someone who might not have watched but might want to ignore me and listen to you and watch the show?
I was gonna say, as someone who's currently suffering and will be suffering in the future from Under the Dome,
Mm,
this is a little bit like that. I would
yeah.
say a little bit more reined in, like
Yes.
a little bit more concentrated, but maybe you know, maybe not for much longer as we're kind of seeing. It could get super chaotic, but this might be like a I don't know, like a sober Under the Dome.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. That also bums me out because I was kind of hoping for more. I mean, Under the Dome,
I know. I'm so
not,
sorry.
not exactly a high standard. What I was hoping this would be is a well done version of The Returned, the French version, not the one that aired on A&E. Like for some reason we decided to remake it with with Americans, but the original French show Under the Dome, the
Under
original French show, The Return or Les Revenants or something, whatever. I can't speak French. Is really terrific and is like exactly the kind of creepy children family drama that I was kind of hoping this would capture, and like right off the bat it punted on that. Like it's not making an attempt to be that, which is a choice, but what it's making an attempt to be is for me way less interesting and has way less upside. And I guess my only hope is that they um well, I don't really have a hope because I know they're going to go forward with this government stuff. So there's really no hope. I mean, I guess the ratings were good, not great, but good. And that is how these mystery shows usually start out. So I'm going to be curious how in the coming weeks this show fares. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, final verdict, Olivia. Thumbs up or thumbs down on The Whispers?
I'm going to give it an optimistic two thumbs up
There you
because
go.
I do want to see if it can maybe slow its roll down a little bit and just kind of rein itself in and maybe lighten up on the conspiracy stuff. If not, I'm gonna just keep watching for the creepy children.
Sure. No, it's good for us to disagree. Like we shouldn't be in agreement on everything, you know. So
Yeah,
that's good.
absolutely.
For me, two thumbs down. I'm bummed out. I'm angry. A pilot like this makes me much more like I get, obviously based on the evidence of this conversation, I get much more riled up about a show like this where the kernel of a good idea was there and they screw it up than I do about like something where I can't think of an example right now. We've talked about so many bad pilots, but where the idea was bad, because it's like then it's like, ah, well, you know.
Also, like Manhattan Love Story, that one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was mad at Manhattan Love Story. but that was just because it was so offensively bad.
Just all the way through.
Yeah, all the way through. I'm like that show that you and I try to reference every week, but neither of us knows the name of the Americans ripoff that aired on NBC.
There's so many. I thought that was American Odyssey.
No, that was. Oh boy.
There's so many.
Oh boy. I'm trying to Google it right now because since we've mentioned it 3 weeks in a row and I still can't remember the name of it.
That should tell you something about the quality of that.
First of all, when I typed in the Americans in BC, the first thing that came up was American Odyssey, but the second was Allegiance, which is the show we've been trying to reference. But Allegiance is a terrible idea. And so the fact that that show was bad didn't really upset me because it's like, well, you got your show made. It turned out to be a bad idea. What can you do? But when a show with a good idea gets made and they screw it up, that really gets me riled up. So that's all. That's my final verdict on this. But okay, so we'll see how that plays out in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
But for now, you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We would appreciate that. Or you can find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, and read everything we write at www.tvbinges.com. Until next week.